Welcome to episode 18 of The Leap Home. So help me God.
In this week's episode, Sam must prevent a miscarriage of justice by getting to the bottom of a murder case before his client is convicted. With the whole town against him, can he find the evidence he needs to secure an acquittal? Or will his amateur lawyering end up putting his client on death row?
What he said? He says, "I'm a lawyer. Take me to your leader." Now that's a terrifying prospect. The first alien contact on Earth, and it's a lawyer.
Good evening, Ian. How are we?
Not too bad, Gerry. How are you?
Looking for the leader.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Not Gary Glitter. I should add.
And you're not a lawyer, which is okay.
No. Well, I'm not qualified. I'll say that.
Amateur.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freelance.
Freelance, yeah. I'm as much of a lawyer as I'm a detective, you know.
Podcaster.
Watched an awful lot of this sort of stuff. I think I could probably handle my own.
You've probably seen more Perry Mason than Sam has.
Probably, yeah.
Just object everything.
Yeah. World! Sustained.
I was feeling the heat a little bit watching this episode.
First notes I have is that it was a really moist episode. Sweaty.
Very much so. And I think that's a direct lift from To Kill a Mockingbird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I know a trope. Family Guy do a very good take on this type of thing.
You can't beat a courtroom drama.
Love it. You've still not seen My Cousin Vinny, have you?
No, where is he?
I did enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it was a good one. If anyone else enjoyed it and wants to talk to us about it during the week, they can get hold of us on social media. We're at Leap Home Podcast on Instagram and on Twitter, and we're at The Leap Home on Facebook. We've got our website up at theleaphome.com where there's a post for every episode that you can comment on. And of course, 1 week early, ahead of everybody else, you can hear these episodes on the Columbo Podcast Productions YouTube channel, where you can also leave your thoughts and subscribe and be notified of things just by hitting that little bell button, and that helps us out as well.
Snapchat. Now, another episode on the subject of racism. Is that the third?
At least so far, and written by the same person as the first one.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not a worthwhile or worthy subject matter, but for a TV, from an entertainment point of view, it's almost as if they're running about with ideas.
Drill this point.
What else can we... Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we get into it a little bit more?
Before we do,
okay.
This also occurred to me when watching the opening credits. Have any of the leapees, the actors who play the body, I don't think any have as yet had any sort of career whatsoever. Most of them are, got 3 or 4 things in IMDb. It would be interesting if there was one person who became a breakout star.
Well, there's at least one.
Is there?
Because he's in the reboot. So this is a future thing that we've not seen yet.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll flag it up to you when we get to it.
No doubt.
It'll fill a minute. Shall we talk about this episode then?
Let's crack on.
The guiding message from the recap this week is that there are some things Sam can change and some things he can't, and it's all about making the right choice at the right time.
What do you think of that?
Oh, it's pretty superficial, isn't it?
Yeah. Of course it's about making the right choice at the right time. Well, you can make the wrong choice at the wrong time. Or the right choice.
I mean, there's some inference that Sam is better positioned to make the right choices than the people he's replacing. I know he has Ziggy's help and so on, but he doesn't always.
No. He's got knowledge, but
he's
hasn't
just a better person.
In many cases. In this case, for sure.
Then he's like, oh, yes, absolutely.
We begin in a courtroom.
We do. Sam is a defence attorney. It's Louisiana, and his name is Leonard.
He is bespectacled and suited as he stares at a young black woman, and the judge sarcastically tells him that he appreciates the dramatic pause, but he wants an answer.
And Sam sends the courtroom into uproar by asking the judge to repeat the question.
Yeah, after he surveys this is a very stereotypical, as we noted, southern room with lots of sweaty people fanning themselves before, as you say, Sam asks for the question to be re-asked. What is the question?
Well, he's looking for a plea, even though everyone in the town already knows the answer, apparently.
That's outrageous from a judge.
I think he's prejudiced the trial there, hasn't he?
Yeah. I also have a big ethical issue in terms of legal ethics that we can discuss later on.
It seems very sort of small town law, like no one outside of this town's going to care about this, so we can just do things our way.
That is probably very accurate. However, it's not How
That's not how the law should work. Yeah.
exactly?
Anyhow, Sam looks over at this woman next to him and interprets her expression as one of innocence and puts in a not guilty plea.
Yeah. What's the charge?
Murder in the second degree, yeah.
Okay. Against Delilah, that's her name. Apparently on the 15th of June 1957, she is accused of murdering Houston Palmer Cotter.
And as Sam puts in this plea, the prosecutor leaps to his feet and says they had a deal. He thought that was agreed, and she was going to do 20 years for second degree murder.
Yes, and because of this change of attitude, he is now going after first degree murder, which comes with the electric chair.
If he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Get the credits at this point, and we come back to the judge's chambers, and we get the flash up saying it's 29th of July, 1957.
Yeah. I do think that you see Sam when the prosecutor, the DA, makes this point about now going after the death penalty. Sam and Delilah stare at each other, and I thought that would have been an oh boy moment. I was waiting for that, but it didn't come.
No. Did we get it last week in the tag?
Can't remember.
No.
After the credits, we retire to the judge's chambers.
Indeed.
Bo, he is the prosecutor and is complaining about Sam breaking this deal.
Throwing it out the window.
As we see Sam as a nerdy looking chap in the mirror.
Very much so, and very sweaty.
Yeah, everyone's sweaty. Some can pull it off better than others.
Yes.
Well, one can pull it off better than others.
The accused?
Yes.
Okay. The judge asks Sam for his reasoning, and he can't get much beyond she's innocent.
The judge, in fairness, in this episode seems fairly... apart from the nonsense of claiming everyone knows what the outcome should be, he does seem fairly open to having a discussion about things. I think even here, he's apoplectic. The judge tries to calm everyone down.
He wasn't planning to have a trial. He was thinking this was a 5-minute job and we'll move on.
Sure.
Everyone will be satisfied.
No doubt.
He points out to Sam that the accused Lila signed a confession, which the judge thinks is a fairly persuasive argument.
But you've missed a big one here.
What one?
One of his reasons for the new plea is that her Miranda rights were apparently
No, I didn't
violated.
miss it. Her Miranda rights relate to the confession. So he's saying that the confession doesn't matter because she wasn't Mirandized.
Again, from Sam's point of view, you could give him the old Swiss cheese.
Well, he doesn't know what year it is.
Oh, you can tell by looking around.
It's the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, he then mutters to himself, oh, no, not until the 60s, and they think he's going a bit nuts.
So the judge gets to the point and reminds him that Lila has confessed to the killing and thinks he should take Bo's offer of 20 years instead of the chair.
He asks Sam whether he's told the captain, whoever that is, that he was going to enter a not guilty plea. And Sam says, no, he doesn't think so.
That doesn't go down too well, you can see.
No, the judge is baffled by this.
Yeah, and he takes a different approach and hints that Sam may be defending her because he has fallen for her womanly charms.
Perhaps, but the prosecutor insists that she's guilty, and Sam says he's simply going to have to prove that.
See, I've got an issue with Sam in this as well. He makes these decisions based on a brief look into this woman's eyes or look at her.
Yeah, he could be completely wrong.
Yeah, she might have committed this act and it may well be that he's going to get her killed. He should be asking for some sort of continuance or whatever it is, to find out more rather than just putting pleas in. He should feign illness in order to, to get out
Fall
of the
over
situation.
and bump his head, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I think he's putting far too much trust in his, I can tell if someone is innocent or guilty by looking at them or they look.
It's fair enough if maybe Al's hinted to him or something, she didn't do this and she went to jail for 20 years, but it's just off his own back.
Because, it's the exact opposite. We wouldn't tolerate or we wouldn't give any truck to the whole, they look guilty, that argument.
Yeah, well, yes, exactly.
So the opposite should apply also.
Back in the courtroom, the judge announces that there will be a trial now.
Yeah, and then adjourns proceedings until 10 a.m. on a Monday morning.
So I assume this must be a Friday afternoon.
I thought so, yeah. At this point, Lila, she's getting cuffed and asks Sam why he did it and points out that she never said she didn't commit the crime.
Or that she wanted to plead not guilty.
Mm-hmm. How does he respond?
I'm not sure. Well, he wants to talk to her more, but she's taken away by the sheriff.
Yeah, no, he tells her that her eyes betrayed the fact.
It doesn't sell it. And she's not buying that at all.
Risky, chancy.
Well, it's not what they'd agreed.
No.
Obviously. Sam wants to talk to her some more, but he's told that he can't until visiting hours the following morning.
Yeah, she's been dragged away by some sort of redneck sheriff, and he takes some delight in...
Well, like most police officers, he's using as much power as he can get his hands on.
Of course.
Sam's then approached by a well-dressed, sort of
it's the Kentucky...
fancy-looking guy.
It's a KFC guy.
Yeah.
It's the captain, a southern gentleman type, who, with a forced smile, tells Sam that he'll give him a lift home. It's not an offer. I think it's, you will be getting a lift home from me.
Well, Sam, we'll hear him thinking that despite the warm tone, he's taken an immediate dislike to this guy, although that happened a couple of weeks ago and he ended up kissing the person that he took a dislike to.
Yes. Sam he leaps to too many conclusions, I think.
Yeah, he's a bit erratic sometimes.
And he must himself know that with his Swiss cheese mind and memory, he can't necessarily trust his own judgment.
Well, you'd think.
Or he shouldn't.
But he does.
He does, yeah.
We hear him thinking that he doesn't know where he lives, so a lift home is probably quite convenient.
Yeah, that is very convenient. He also doesn't like the way that everyone is very deferential to this captain.
Yeah, or the way they call him Captain, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him Captain.
No. Maybe Captain Birdseye.
And I think he mentions it's quite obvious he runs the town.
Yeah, and I think Sam maybe sees this ride as an opportunity to gather some more information.
Do you think he's maybe like Porky from Porky's?
Probably.
You've not seen Porky's, have you?
Okay. But if you say so.
Porky runs the town.
Right. Yeah, we'll come back to that idea as well.
Yeah, it's a very American legal jurisdiction type thing. You don't really get it here at all. The country's too small here.
It's a bit like the one we had in the radio station, the one businessman saying, "Oh, I control everything. If you piss me off, then there'll be no business advertising with your station." So, well, really? All the businesses?
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think in a lot of these small towns, maybe in the south, where you have one person who's perhaps the main employer of an area, they've
got a factory or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it did happen here in the past where you had the mill owners or whoever, and if you
they built villages around.
Of course,
yeah.
Same idea back then.
Mines and stuff.
Mm-hmm. No, mine. Yours? Anyway, we're in the car, where we listen as the captain provides Sam with some personal background on the current situation.
You know, Leonard, your daddy and I were partners for a long time. A long time. That's why I feel I can speak frankly to you. I know that Houston's trial is your big opportunity, son.
You mean Lila's trial, don't you?
Lila's trial. It shows you how pain and grief can addle a man's mind. Yeah, but you know, I figured that's sort of like what happened to you in court. Huh? So, all that excitement, the whole town watching you. I reckon you just got carried away, like a pup on his first hunt.
I'm not a pup.
She murdered my boy, Leonard. But I got to think about Houston's mama. She blames herself. She felt sorry for Lila from the minute she set eyes on her. Took her in, kept her on, when I could see it was leading to nothing but trouble. Now, that's why I agreed to lower the charge of second-degree murder, to get this over with as soon as possible, for Sadie's sake.
You agreed.
So'd you.
Yeah, well, I changed my mind.
Why?
Because she's not guilty.
Leonard, that murdered my only son.
First of all, we don't know it was murder. And second of all, you can call her black-colored or Negro, but don't you ever use that word in front of me again.
It was certainly a different time in TV where the N-word would be, even in this context, would be used in a sort of family show. You wouldn't have
6
that.
6 p.m. in the BBC. No, we wouldn't even consider it because people listen a bit more now. Mm-hmm. It's not just one experience that we get our knowledge from.
And at this, like the judge, the captain suggests that Sam has perhaps succumbed to Lila's charms.
He refers to his own memories of perving on her when she was working in his house.
Yeah, he describes her in more unsavoury terms and says he understands why Sam would be affected. I mean, yeah, he's just a scumbag.
Yeah, well,
obviously.
Completely. He urges Sam to spend the night thinking carefully about what's best for himself, for Sadie and for his client, but especially for himself.
Yeah, and as he does so, he grabs Sam's arm tightly to emphasise the point, and we have an ominous score to let us know this guy is serious.
Bad news.
So outside the house, Sam is met by who?
His wife, who has a very strange name.
Shugi?
Shugi? Oh.
Yeah. Not only a strange name, but she's also a scumbag.
Oh, she's one of the worst.
She's a Southern Belle type who is impressed that Sam was dropped off by the captain and gives him a big kiss. She's just, yeah. Not just her attitude towards other races, but her social climbing, her...
Yeah, she's very pleased to see Sam with the captain because that could get them into the country club.
Yes, and she also... I mean, she is a despicable person who talks about the coloured whore.
Indeed, and I didn't understand the Rhett Butler reference. What was that?
From Gone with the Wind.
I've not seen Gone with the Wind.
Right. I don't think a lot of people have.
Oh, they're talking about roleplay?
Yes.
Okay, that's why he calls her Scarlet O'Hara later on.
Yes.
Got you.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's on to mention that this Delilah was the person who Houston took to his bed when she was 14. Now, immediately I wrote here, okay, so she was raped.
Well, that's the way she phrases that is quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's not accusing Lila of being responsible like the others did, or do later on.
No, I didn't read it that way. The way I read it was that...
Well, in the confession that we come to, it's said that Lila pursued Houston. But Shugi's saying that, no, Houston took her to his bed.
Yeah, but I don't think that taking her... I mean, I think that you could be pursued by someone and then you succumb and agree and you take... and it's the way that... Because the way she says it here is, it's not like, oh, that's Houston's terrible. He was having sex with a child. It's like, just a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the girl, that's the coloured whore that... I mean, the language itself puts she calls her a whore.
I suppose, yeah. Okay.
In any case, she assumes that things are going to be fine as the captain gave him a lift home, so there can't be any animosity there, apparently.
Reading anything into that, yeah.
And as they approach the house, she waits for him to open the door.
The other interesting thing is she's heard what happened in court. How did she hear? They came straight from the court in a car.
That's true.
I suppose someone might have phoned her.
Yeah.
But,
well, possibly, if it's quite scandalous what's happened, I'm sure some of the gossips might have picked up the phone and says, "Oh, have you heard what your Leonard has said?"
Sent her a telegram.
Sent around one of the boys.
Whatever they did in 1953.
And she talks about rewarding him with pecan pie. Is that a euphemism?
No, she's going to actually bake a pecan pie.
Okay.
And then
give him some pecan pie. Yeah, the next morning on the street.
Yeah, Sam's recalling that he spent the night researching the case and trying to avoid Scarlett O'Hara.
And obviously worrying about his abilities as a lawyer. And I noted that at least he's got the patting down with the handkerchief. He's got that part down.
Yeah, at least he's got the humility to realise that he's maybe not going to be good at this.
I thought perhaps we would find out that Sam's also got a PhD in the law.
The law of the South in the 50s, yeah.
But no.
He can't remember the name of the TV detective that he used to enjoy watching.
That's a worry.
But Al provides the answer when he shows up moments later.
And he tells Sam that he's been up all night himself with wimpy Leonard, who thinks that he was abducted by aliens, as we
heard at the top, yeah.
With a laugh, Al tells him that all Siggy has is that he's there to play Rhett Butler. But Sam firmly refutes this and insists that he is there to save Lila from the chair. That's a massive assumption. Why you...
Yeah. Al says it can't be that. They've checked the record and the 20 years was the best option anyway.
This takes the wind out of Sam's sails as he admits that he has now actually embarrassingly...
taking that off the table, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, in this situation where Sam has got to make a yes or no decision,
yeah,
why was Al not there?
Well, he tells you he was helping Leonard.
No, I don't. That couldn't have been the most important thing. Leave Leonard.
Well, or let Gushy deal with Leonard.
Whatever, yeah. Come and tell Sam what he has to do here, or what the best option is.
He didn't.
He didn't, obviously, yeah.
Al is flabbergasted to hear Sam's confession.
Especially as he sheepishly admits that it was just the look in her eyes that made him make this decision. Sam falls in... Maybe it's like, Sam, you're always falling in love with women. Is this the same situation?
Oh, maybe. But then, out of nowhere, Sam pulls out quite a good point.
What's that?
He says the town is so bigoted and so prejudiced against Lila that there's no way they'd be letting her off with second-degree murder if she'd actually done it.
That's a very fair point.
Yeah.
he thinks they're hiding something, and he is going to prove it. But
I don't know if they are hiding something.
well, the town aren't hiding something, but there is something.
We know that Lila is hiding something.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what the captain knows.
Oh, the captain, I think, does know.
Or has put it together. Maybe.
No, I think when the thing happened.
Of course, because he threatens
Mm-hmm.
the other woman. Of course, he doesn't know. Right, you're correct. In the prison now, or I suppose the police station for visiting, Lila tells a still very sweaty Sam that she was getting used to the idea of spending the rest of her life in a prison cell, but she thinks she can adjust to being dead instead.
Yeah. She's very moist at this point. She is at the window smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, Sam suggests she stops that, but she's not convinced that it's going to shorten her life any.
I was quite annoyed at that point. It irritated me for some reason.
Why would you make that point?
Well, yeah. It's like, really focus.
You just have to be that way. You
Yeah.
just have to.
But do you know that's bad for you? I mean, like, she's eating a burger.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's cholesterol. That's not good. It's like, look, you've put this woman in a position where she might die. If she gets lung cancer in 20 years' time, that's actually going to be a result for you, considering.
Yes, because she's still alive, yeah.
So focus, Sam. Focus.
Sam asks her about this confession, and she says that she hasn't been innocent since she moved into the captain's house because they think she bewitched the golden boy and murdered him when he rejected her. And she's surprised that they're not burning her at the stake.
Yeah. Now, he also makes a ridiculous claim, Sam does.
What's that?
He tells her that innocent people do not confess to crimes.
That's
we know.
so untrue. Netflix wouldn't exist if that was the case.
Exactly. I mean, is he so naive, Sam, that he thinks that the American criminal justice system
Truthful out?
Yeah.
No.
The world over, we've all had our outrageous miscarriages of justice, high-profile ones.
Often with confessions involved.
Of course. I mean, it's like, what are you talking about, Sam? No one confesses what if they've been beaten and tortured.
Which he doesn't know.
Yeah. And in fact, it's not just that, but you go to any police station, any high-profile, any crime at all, really, but certainly a high-profile crime, you get weirdos off the street all the time confessing
Want to confess to things,
things they didn't do.
Yeah, not to mention the psychological pressure that's put on people as well.
Of course.
Yeah, no, it's a bad statement. It's just, there's no basis in fact. Lila, going back to the point about burning her at the stake, makes an interesting point that maybe the electric chair is a modern day stake for a modern day witch.
It's a good parallel, isn't it?
Yeah. Sam, though, assures her that she's neither a witch nor a murderer. But she says, I killed Houston, which kind of takes the wind out of his sails a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, really? Are you sure? Yeah, she's not interested. She gets up, I think she's quite emotional. She shouts this at him and then leaves for her cell. We next find Sam at the sheriff's office.
Yes, he wants to see the confession and then all the other evidence,
What?
including the police report.
From a disinterested cop who tells him he'll have to ask Bo if Sam has the right to do so. Do these guys not know anything?
Yeah, they're all. He says they're all very impressed by Sam's efforts to do a good job, but enough is enough.
And again, there's another suggestion that it is Lila's physical appearance that is driving this
Yeah,
for Sam.
I mean, at least they cast it well for making all these references.
Yeah, it would be some wee dumpy thing, Susan Boyle lookalike.
Sam gets the sheriff to phone the DA to seek permission to release the files.
He does, but the cop at first, or the sheriff, he spends the first few minutes discussing personal nonsense.
Yeah, and Sam nips at him, at which point it seems like he's going to refuse permission.
Until Sam grabs the phone and threatens him with getting higher authorities involved, which gets him what he's after.
Yeah, he refers to the sheriff as Sheriff Lobo here.
Does he?
I'll get to that in the trivia.
Okay.
When he gets the go-ahead to receive the evidence, he sends a prayer up to Perry Mason. He looks a bit like God, I suppose.
But yeah, I'm sure if you believe that. So I think God is probably more fictional than
Perry Mason.
But Perry Mason is based on a real person.
Okay. He's got the same beard as God.
What? Are you saying that?
As the traditional Western depiction of God.
God's a woman.
Over at the captain's house, Sam wants to speak with Myrtle, the other maid.
Yeah, he walks past a number of black servants in the garden And he considers to himself that Lila's confession seems like a ridiculous soap opera where she had been, throwing herself at Houston for years, and after being dismissed, she killed him with a shotgun. I mean, I think what we needed to see is Houston. Again,
before.
If it's the opposite, if Houston's just like has been there, the ugly guy.
Yeah.
Maybe if he's more suave and charming.
Yeah, you believe it more.
Perhaps, yeah.
As Sam walks up this drive, he's greeted from the first floor balcony by the captain's wife, Sadie, who recalls the last time he was at the house.
She seems reasonable enough at this point.
Yeah, she tells a story about how Houston and Leonard had been school friends until a falling out at some point when they were teenagers.
And I think, does she say that she understands that Houston was in the wrong?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't seem fully compos mentis, though, because she's talking about the heat killing the flowers, and Sam says they'll come back, and she says she gets the feeling that maybe they're never coming back.
Well, that's obviously...
her mind's kind of drifting away from the present moment.
Sure, but it's a reference perhaps to loved ones who are no longer there.
Maybe. Out on the back porch, Sam does get an opportunity to speak with Myrtle, having been directed there by Sadie.
Yeah, I think she's like the head servant, perhaps, of the household.
She's much older than Lila, anyway. Anyway, Myrtle says that she didn't see anything on the night of the killing. However, she does have some useful information to share.
Myrtle, according to the police report, you're the closest thing we got to an eyewitness.
I don't know nothing.
But you were here when it happened.
I was in the kitchen.
And?
And Houston came back from hunting. And they started fighting again. It seems to me they had been fighting most of the day.
They fought a lot.
Like possums in heat.
About what?
Well, as usual. She was leaving and he didn't want her to go.
She was leaving.
I suppose love no longer could soften the back of his hand.
She loved him?
Not at first. But he took her when she was 14. It's funny how the mind can turn things around and make it seem right.
Wait a minute, he beat and raped her, and she thought it was love?
It was love. Leastways, the only kind Lila ever knew from a man.
Myrtle, this is important. Did Houston beat Lila the night that she shot him?
Now, I don't know. I wasn't in the room.
Well, did you hear him beat her?
All I heard was a lot of yelling and things breaking, and all of a sudden that gunshot went off and Lila screamed. And then Lila opened the door and there was Houston. He was laying on Miss Sadie's imported rug with no face. Oh, my God. No face.
I hate when folk are just lying around in a rug with no face.
Especially an imported rug.
Yeah, I mean, if it had been a local rug, fair enough.
Have some consideration.
Yeah.
Where you're going to plank your non-face.
Sam tells Myrtle at this point that if she testifies, Lila can be found innocent.
Yeah, it'll be viewed as self-defence and she won't go to the chair.
I suspect that wouldn't happen.
No.
They're not going to take Myrtle's word.
No.
Over the physical evidence.
I don't think so, yeah. In any case, she insists that she can't be a witness, even though she's adamant that she ain't afraid of no man, regardless of who they are or what colour they are. And at this, she heads back inside.
Yes, having said she wouldn't swear on any Bible.
Mm.
Back in court, Sam gets a quick word with Lila, tells her he spoke to Myrtle and tells her what he learned. He says he can't help her if she won't help herself.
I thought this was strange. After this information, this is a massive revelation or a massive change in the defence strategy that I'd have thought. He's waited until court's in session. Like, he's not went straight to her
the same
to
day,
have a chat about this. Okay. In any case, he asks her to confirm that Houston beat her that night, but she remains silent as he stands to face the judge, and he asks God to help him.
We then get the most ridiculous exchange of the episode.
What's that?
So the judge asks if he's ready. He says no, he can't go on at this point, almost as if he's giving up because he's not got the support of his own client. But Al appears and starts giving him random advice, like approach the bench and say your fly's down.
Yeah, both counsels do, and Al advises that Sam asks for a few minutes in the judge's chamber so that he can fix his zipper. this is almost comedy now.
Slapstick.
Yeah. Because even if that was the case, it's not a good enough.
Just zip it up.
Just zip it up, yeah.
Anyhow, the judge shows some sympathy.
Amazingly, I don't know why the judge just said, no, you're not doing that.
Well, maybe he's just recognised that Sam's a bit flustered and he needs a bit of time to settle.
As we said earlier, I think the judge, perhaps in this sort of small town, it's the normal sort of cases, and he's bored with, he's been doing this for years, he's approaching retirement, and now it's just like he's embracing any sort of excitement and say, yeah, go for it then. You want to defend the black woman who's admitted killing the rich white boy? Yeah, I'll let you do this. You've got your flies down? Yeah, take 10 minutes. Listen, I'm retiring next year. I don't care. This is fun.
He gives him 3 minutes, to be fair.
Yeah.
And in chambers, Sam is pleased to see Al, who tells him that sadly, none of his degrees are in law. However, with Ziggy's help, they have the whole history of law to refer to.
So do we with the internet, but it would be entirely useless in his situation. It doesn't matter. I mean, what you got to do?
I don't know. They talk again about Sam seeing innocence in Lila's eyes, and Al, who believes that the eyes are important, is convinced by this argument.
Yeah, he says it's probably why he got the job.
Sam's ability to recognise that could be the difference between making the not guilty plea and just letting the process play out.
Yeah, but I also thought it was interesting that it seems like, Al refers to it as getting the job. It's almost as if these assignments are being dished out.
Well, they've talked about that before. They think God's choosing where he's going.
Okay.
He said that in the Senate hearing.
That's true. Al then peps Sam up by claiming that he and Ziggy have researched dozens of similar cases and they're going to put up a great defence, starting with
the jury. They don't put up a great defence,
no,
I should
they don't.
say.
It's terrible, yeah.
We'll come back to that point as well. In the courtroom as the trial begins, Sam causes a bit of a stir once again by saying that the jury must be replaced due to the lack of black people.
Yeah, I mean, Bo, I think he points out there's never been a Negro juror in Louisiana.
And the judge, although he seems sympathetic to the argument, makes the point that you need to be a registered voter to be on a jury and only white people are allowed to vote.
So, Sam tries a different approach. I think it's quite smart.
Yes, he says that reluctantly they will have to accept that these people are equal to his client, which makes the jury angry.
Yeah,
probably not the right people to annoy.
Probably not, but I think he's doing what he can to, if he doesn't do anything, like he's just
kind
guilty.
of pointing out the hypocrisy or the absurdity of the situation rather than progressing towards a defence.
Yeah. I mean, because the point he's making is here that she's entitled to a jury of her peers.
Yeah. A little later, we're hearing a ballistics expert giving some evidence. But Sam notes to himself that it seems that they're all heavily coached by the prosecutor.
Well, they would be if it's a prosecution witness.
Yeah. Well, you would expect that, yeah. They're using the same words to give the same evidence.
Yeah, they do that. I think Sam's quite naive here. So why are all these prosecution witnesses all saying things that are detrimental to my case? Because
that's what they're there for.
Yeah. In fact, he thinks it feels like they have seen the same play, just with a different director. And at this, he looks across at the imperious captain.
So the implication here is it's not the prosecutor that's coached them. The captain's lined them all up to come in and give this evidence.
Yeah, I mean, they may have been coached by the prosecution on orders from the captain.
Maybe.
Yeah. Bo wants to have the confession entered into record.
Sam objects, claiming it was taken under duress.
And when the judge asks Lila to confirm this, Al again advises that she can't answer until she's been placed under oath.
Yeah, he might have been better off letting her answer.
Of course, because she isn't willing to go on oath.
So she could have said, yes, it was under duress. But anyhow, yes, Sam insists that she be sworn in and then she refuses.
And so as a compromise, he asks for a copy of the alleged confession and then asks her to confirm that it is accurate.
Unfortunately, she can't read.
Which I thought might also be a solution. If she can't read, then I don't know.
Yeah, but they would have read it out to her before she signed it. Whether what they read out to her is what it says.
Yeah, I mean, these days that wouldn't be acceptable.
I think it turns out later on that it's not what it says because she's not happy with what the content of the confession is.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we move outside where Al's very excited at all their successful objections, but Sam quite correctly points out that they've not achieved anything.
Yes, and as it stands, if Lila doesn't take the stand and deny it, the confession will be placed on record as the truth, and that's her pretty much done for at that point.
Yeah.
At this, he is interrupted by a cheery Shuggie, who has brought him lunch, but as soon as they are out of earshot of other people, she reverts to type.
I have never been so mortified in my entire life. If Papa were alive, he'd die. How could you say that colored whore was equal to a white person?
Her name is Lila or Miss Barry, and you will refer to her as that in my presence, and even if you're not in my presence.
Leonard Dancy, have you taken leave of your senses? Well, I'm not saying anything that you haven't said.
Well, I was wrong.
What are you doing?
Taking Lila some lunch?
You are going to give that colored girl my chicken?
If she'll have it.
Well, Miss Sugar, look at you. I swear, Leonard, your little lady is like the fruit in the tree. She just gets sweeter with time.
Oh, Camgata, you are such a flirt.
That was quite a show you put on there, Leonard. I'm very impressed. Shame to see talent like that leave 12 Oaks.
Oh, well, we aren't going anywhere, Captain.
Oh, well, I didn't realize you all had enough money to retire.
Why don't you get to the point, Captain?
Leonard.
All right, Leonard, I will. Now, most of the legal work done in this parish is done for me or for my associates. Now, if you persist in pursuing this course of action, the only legal work you're going to do, son, is going to be pro bono. That means for free, Sugar. My.
Shaken Shuggie asks Sam what he's going to do now, and he says he's taking Lila her lunch.
That's all he can do.
Well,
In the visiting room again, a seemingly relaxed Lila claims that she knows now how the Christians felt before Sam mentions that Myrtle told him about the rape when she was 14.
she challenges that characterisation.
Yeah, she doesn't deny the act, but instead claims some would consider it rape and others wouldn't.
Yeah, she says that she and her mother buried, I think, 8 siblings of hers, where she came from. She refers to it as a bayou, and that Sadie had brought her out of that, and she didn't want to give anybody any excuse to send her back.
Yeah, she sort of accepts that perhaps the first time it might have been rape, but after that, Houston loved her, and there isn't a whole lot in the world that is right. She's very downtrodden and world-weary, beaten.
Yeah, she maybe accepts, it's not ideal circumstances, but, there are no ideal circumstances in the world.
So an exasperated Sam then tells her she needs to deny the ridiculous confession she is supposed to have made.
Yes, and he reads out to her.
Yeah, but she's not interested, still.
Until he gets to the phrase, "in the name of Jesus."
And at this, she breaks and admits that it's all a lie and sobs in his chest as he gives her a hug.
I think it's the reference to Jesus that upsets her. She's quite religious.
Clearly, yeah.
And they're putting lies down and they're putting them in blasphemous terms, in her view.
Just then, a court officer walks in and shakes his head, thinking he has seen some proof of unprofessional conduct.
Yes, they are quite tightly embraced at that point, as Sam is keen to do every time he goes anywhere.
Yeah, it's fine, but it's not sexual.
No.
In the courtroom again.
Yes, Sam thinks he's persuaded Lila, but she still refuses to swear in the Bible, so the confession is read out and enters into evidence.
Which allows the smug beau to stand up and read it to the jury, taking great delight.
Indeed. A wee bit later on, everyone's left, but Sam's still in the courtroom.
Yeah, he's quite dejected, and he walks to the judge's bench and picks up the Bible with a smile.
Al appears at this point, but it occurs to Sam independently that Lila's probably trying to protect somebody else.
I think he asks Al why they take an oath in the Bible, and he says it's to ensure that people are telling the truth. So
yeah, and even if it incriminates themselves, and then Sam thinks, or somebody else.
And at this point, in walks Myrtle.
Why?
Well, she apologises firstly for disturbing his praying.
Yeah, because he's talking it loud to Al. So
So
why is she coming to the empty courtroom?
But I don't know, yeah. Maybe to, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, yes, they get into a conversation, and Myrtle eventually concedes that he, we assume the captain, made her swear in a Bible that if she told a soul what happened, she would go to hell.
Sam, of course, knows that she means the captain, and Al tells him to reference the Galatians, is it?
Yeah, I'll tell you the trivia, exactly what it was, but yes.
And as he reads the passage, which talks of man unsettling someone's mind, it says they'll have to face God's judgment.
Yes, and she realises that the oath she swore has no value.
Back in the courtroom, when is it?
I think it must be the next morning.
Yeah, it is packed, but Sam is missing.
Yes, even Lila doesn't know why he's not there, and why she would know when she's been in a cell. I don't know. They do ask her.
Yeah.
They're about to commence without him when he arrives dramatically with apologies.
And we see Lila take a massive sigh of relief, so she's not quite as accepting of her fate as she's trying to portray.
No, she'd thought he abandoned her, but he hasn't.
After Sam apologises, he then nervously calls his first witness.
Much to the outrage, I would say, of the entire courtroom.
And especially the captain. Who is it?
It's Sadie Cotter, his wife.
Lila protests, says no. And until now, the controlled captain points and tells him that he's gone too damn far.
Yes, and then tells the judge to put a stop to it. And then this is where the judge acts a little bit strangely. Says he's no intention of allowing a grieving mother to take the stand. And what other exceptions do you have? What about...
Yeah. Now, you're right. It's not... He shouldn't be making this call on the spot. However, I do have an issue with this testimony.
Well, the prosecutor should be getting her tested so she's competent to give evidence for a start.
Okay, so let's quickly talk about it just now then, yeah. Today, I think you would have no chance of her testimony being taken at its word here. She's quite clearly unstable. She's through some sort of
mental
trauma.
break, yeah.
So a breakdown, yeah. She's not fit. I mean, she would be deemed not fit to stand, I think, in this case.
Well, if someone new to ask, yeah, and especially after what she says. However, before we get to any of that, Sam is able to insist that she gives evidence because he's been to Baton Rouge, the big city, and got a subpoena, and a federal marshal, which means that the judge can't do anything. Yeah,
the enraged captain demands that the judge puts a stop to this and doesn't care if the subpoena came from God himself. But just then, the delicate-looking Sadie enters and asks what all the shouting is about and claims to be as fit as any woman has the right to be, and proceeds to take the stand, insisting she wants to help Lila. Sam grabs another quick word with Lila, who confirms that Sadie did see Houston beating her and that the gun went off by accident, and she asks him to take Sadie off the stand, but he says he can't. No, it's not that. Lila herself says she is not well, and that's right. This woman is not mentally well. No. And this is, I said earlier, this is an ethical issue I've got with this. Yeah. It's like, is it correct to break sort of one ethical responsibility if it serves a greater good? It's a little bit like the Columbo episode, Forgotten Lady. Yeah. Where he opts not to proceed with a murder charge against the woman who can't remember doing it. Sure. But also, I think, I'm not sure how fair it is to Delilah. Again, maybe not back then, but now, if this plays out as it plays out, it could quite easily be a retrial or a miscarriage of justice could be. Yeah, and if we assume that the captain knows that this is what's happened, yeah, then it's not like he's going to be calmed by the evidence that his wife gives. Anyway, a tear runs down Lila's face at this point as Sadie is sworn in. We're on the stand. Yes. And as you say, with Lila in tears, Sam approaches his Stepford wife-style witness. She's quite robotic and she's not all there, is she? I think, like we said, she had some kind of break. And she admits it's not pleasant airing family laundry in public, but again, notes that she wants to help Lila. She seems to believe, we hear later on, that she's here to give evidence to support Lila against a charge of stealing money from the family. Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder if Sam told her that? It's a bit unethical. Very. She begins by stating that she cares about Lila and that others say things about her because they don't know her or the truth and they shouldn't talk. And I think this was quite nice. She was making a public statement for all those people in the town or who would hear about this. She's saying, don't be treating people this way, which is fair enough. And then Sam gets to the heart of the matter. She initially talks round it and says that he ended up hating her because he loved her, wanted to marry her, but couldn't because of her race.
Yes, but he never beat her in front of his mother.
Until that night. She then goes on to detail what happened, and the court hears the shocking truth.
It was my fault. I gave Lila the money so she could get away, start a new life. She and I were dawdling over our goodbyes when Houston came home from hunting. We saw that valise in her hand and he threw it clean across the room. Broke that big Chinese vase the captain brought back from England. That's when Lila slapped him. Well, Houston went wild. He hit her so hard she fell into the chifforobe. I tried to stop him, but he pushed me away. Just kept hitting her over and over. I begged for him to stop before he killed her, but he wouldn't. That's when I picked up the shotgun.
It was an accident.
Order!
It
Order!
was so loud, made my ears ring. And then Lila started screaming. Lord, child, can you scream?
It was an accident. She was trying to save my life. All she was trying to do was save my life.
So you see, Eugene, Lila didn't steal the money. I gave it to her. And I'll see that Houston tells you the truth of that soon as he comes home from hunting.
We have to strike all this from the record.
The last point she made there.
Yeah, the prosecutor should be moving to have her entire evidence stricken from the record.
Yeah.
Struck from the record.
What you're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't
well,
believe
she
a word of
murdered
that.
her son and had some kind of mental breakdown.
Mm-hmm. And thinks he's still alive and is coming home. So
She's convinced herself anyway.
so you can't you can't take that for
Yeah, so she doesn't even know, she can't even accept that her son's dead. How can you rely on her version of the events around his death?
Prosecution would have a field day with this.
Yeah, I mean they wouldn't be cross-examining; they'd be moving for a medical examination.
Yeah,
I would have thought. Certainly nowadays,
sure.
it's quite sad for her.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Lila cries at this, and Sam, who appears shaken, sits down as Sadie smiles and nods from the witness stand.
And the next time we see them, it's at a bus stop days later. I
Clearly,
imagine.
the case has collapsed against Lila following this evidence, and we see Sam meeting up with Lila.
She's sitting on her suitcase, dressed all prim and proper, when she is pleasantly surprised by Sam turning up to see her off.
He asks where she's off to, and she says she's going wherever $100 will take her.
And it turns out he's now a bit of a celebrity.
Well, he's been in the Baton Rouge newspaper. He's got an offer of employment from a large law firm, and even his wife is happy because it comes with country club membership.
And we've discussed this before, but when Leonard leaps back, Leonard the racist,
Yes.
I mean, what's he?
I don't know. Well, the case is finished now, I suppose.
Yeah, but his attitude, people in Baton Rouge will be expecting a sort
Yes,
of
this
liberal
crusader.
Yeah, and it's going to be N-words here, left, right and centre.
Oh, I don't know how it's going to work out for him.
Are these people not
They must be given some
educated?
sort of insight into...
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyhow, Lila says it doesn't matter what she does. She's just happy to be free and not in prison and not executed. And she's thankful that Sadie saved her life twice now.
And they both hope that she never remembers what actually
I
happened.
mean, that's a bit cruel. Surely you want her to recover from her...
Yeah, hopefully she's mentally unstable the rest of her life and living in some sort of fantasy land.
Yeah, it's better that she recovers her mental health and comes to terms with what happened.
Maybe Lila's saying, I hope she never remembers because actually
I
the truth
shot
is
him.
I shot him, yeah.
She tells Sam that she'll send money to pay her legal bill, but he says, instead of that, learn to read, you dafty.
It's a little bit patronising.
Very much so. He gives her a book that'll help her. He thinks it will increase her opportunities, and she tears up and gives him a hug before jumping on the bus out of town, and he waves her off.
Before leaping.
Yes, into a dressing room where he's got a moustache, and then he doesn't, and then he does again, and is told it's just a few seconds till he's due on stage. It's like that nightmare you get where you're in a play and you don't know the words.
Yeah. Yeah, he's told to break a leg as he's dragged to the wings as he watches the curtains open and utters an "oh boy."
Indeed. And that's the end.
It is.
I thought it was interesting that they didn't show the immediate aftermath or the end of the trial.
Why? What do you think? What would you like to have seen?
I would like to have known how the captain reacted. I would like to have known how the town reacted. Did they just accept, okay, well, fair enough, Sadie shot him and Lila didn't do anything wrong, or is there still a case of, not sure about this, she seems a little bit out of it, she maybe witnessed her son getting murdered. And
Yeah, I mean, it might be interesting for us to know that, but I think, our story's about Sam and this particular relationship, and I think once that's achieved, that's it, isn't it?
We didn't really need that bus stop bit though.
Well, I think you do. You have to. It's her story we're interested in.
So
Lila's
getting her to read that part of his.
Well, she's moving
task.
on. She's no longer a servant. She's got a new opportunity, creating a new life for herself.
Do you think Sam fell for Lila?
Yeah.
Of course he did. It's false for everybody. Did you find Sadie a compelling witness?
No, I just said there. We've discussed that for the last 10 minutes. No, I would love to be the prosecution in that case.
Tear her to shreds.
Definitely.
Rip her apart on the stand.
Without a doubt. Have her in tears.
Any other thoughts?
Not really, no. Again, just the fact that we're
Back at racism.
Back at racism, which again, fine, but
I wonder if they'll do an episode where they think racism's good.
Maybe.
Just for a change.
Maybe he jumps into the body of a clan member or a neo-Nazi or something. That'd be good.
Yeah, to persuade the rest of them that they're all wrong. That'll go down well, Sam. Trivia. This originally aired on the 29th of November 1989. Didn't come to the UK for 2 years after that.
What?
Directed by Andy Cadiff. First of 3 Quantum Leap episodes. He's also done episodes of things like The Odd Couple and The Gina Davis Show, probably best or most associated with. Home Improvement did 81 of those. And Spin City he did 71, which is about half of all the Spin Cities. And he remains active at the age of 67. Another one written by Deborah Pratt. Talked about her in the podcast for The Colour of Truth back in season 1. So you can go and tune into that one for some more information. This was the 4th of her 20 writing credits for the show. Tyra Farrell played Lila Berry. This was her only Quantum Leap episode, but she went on to appear in films like Poetic Justice, White Men Can't Jump, and Boys in the Hood. She's now 60 years old and remains an active performer.
And very sweaty.
Well, she was this time. Byrne Piven played the captain. This was his only Quantum Leap episode, but he also appeared in shows like LA Law, The A-Team, and Miami Vice, and he's the father of the actor Jeremy Piven. He died in 2002. Byrne Piven died in 2002 at the age of 72. Kathleen Noon played Sadie. This was her only Quantum Leap appearance and one of the first screen credits of her career. She went on to appear in shows like Frasier and LA Law, but it's probably best known for her long runs on Knots Landing, Passions, and All My Children. And now 77 years old, her last screen credit was 2017.
Noon, what does that remind you of?
Lunch.
The Eyes of Septimus.
Okay, yes, from Jonathan Creek.
Yep. If you like Jonathan Creek, there's a podcast out there. Give it a listen.
Yeah, it's got me on it.
And me.
Yeah, and you. Ketty Lester played Myrtle. This was her only Quantum Leap appearance, but she also appeared on shows like LA Law, The Bill Cosby Show, Webster, and Little House on the Prairie. She also had a successful singing career, reaching the top 5 in both the US and the UK in 1961 with her hit record Love Letters. Her most recent screen appearance was back in 1998, and she's now 88 years old. Sheriff Dixon was played by John Apicella. This was his only Quantum Leap episode, but he also appeared in shows like Married with Children, Alf, The X-Files, and famously in an episode of Friends where he was Mr. Beaumont, who had a boat named after him at a charity auction. He's still active, he's now 73. Finally, the Judge Haller, was played by William Shallert. His only Quantum Leap, but he's also been in Inner Space, The Waltons, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and, as our loyal listeners will recall, in the classic original series Star Trek episode The Trouble with Tribbles.
Who was he?
I think he was one of the assistants on the station, like the guy who was advising the head of the, or maybe it was the head of the station, the head of the station guy. He died in 2016 when he was 93. During the episode, Sam refers to the sheriff as Sheriff Lobo, which is an accusation of corruption based on the character from BJ and the Bear. Interestingly, William Shallert, who played the judge, played Mayor Hawkins in 3 episodes of the spin-off from BJ and the Bear, The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo.
Would you have BJ in your title if you were?
Not now. No, people would think about that differently, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Especially if it's involving a bear.
A bear would depend on a bear what?
Well, we've talked about the similarities to Kill a Mockingbird and the plot and the tone and the sweat. The Bible verse you were asking about is Galatians 5 verses 7 to 10. And in terms of things we learned, Sam doesn't have a degree in law and he watches Perry Mason. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, well, next week we've got Catch a Falling Star, where Sam has to save an alcoholic from a painful experience. So we'll see you in 1979.
Until then,
cheerio.
Bye bye.